Welcome back to the channel. We got some big news today. I just picked up some mega truck parts that we have been waiting on for a while. This has been a big thing. So I just want to point out, I've been getting called a liar about my mega truck parts, which I'm not lying about it. If you've ever built a truck like that, it doesn't happen overnight. Apparently I'm lying about parts and lying about not getting stuff. I don't know why I would do that. It's kind of dumb to me. But there's a couple people that were saying that on some of the videos. So thought that was pretty crazy. But I'm really not lying to you guys. Getting all these parts rounded up is huge. And then no matter how many lists you make where you're like, okay, we need this, 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 and this, somehow something gets forgotten. Well, when that one thing gets forgotten, then you have to wait 1 to 2 weeks on it. And we're trying to make videos around the build to make the videos interesting and entertaining for you guys. It's tough to do that sometimes when you're waiting on certain parts, trying to get certain things. So it is tough. It's not like I just had everything sitting here ready to go. Obviously, we built all new link bars for it. We put a brand new engine in it, put a different transmission in it. We did a different transfer case. We did the axles and went through all those ourselves. Brand new wheels and tires. It was actually hard finding tires for this thing. The size that I want to run, they don't have a lot of those tires. So it's not a super common size. So it took me a little bit to get the tires. The rims are not a common size. These rims had to be custom made in every which way because of the offset I wanted and because of the width I wanted. So a big thing just happened. My boy Brian over at R&D Concepts, you guys will see a bunch of billet parts on the truck from him eventually. He just got done with our wheels and they are absolutely insane. So I had to buy a shell, which is the outer of the barrel. And then he had the centers cut for me. They were laser cut along with all the gussets, all the crush rings, the whole deal. He had to buy it, or he had to basically do that. And then he went ahead and welded them up. He offered to weld them up. And I was like, yeah, man, I know that's going to take like 3 or 4 days. He's like, I'll weld them up for you. I said, no problem, buddy. You go ahead and do that because I knew it was going to be a job. But they are here and they are getting ready to go to powder coat. So check them out, guys. 34-inch wheel by 20. They are freaking monstrous. 4 wheels fill up a whole back of a truck. Like, I don't have much room for anything else back here. So 4 wheels fill up a 6.5-foot bed. That's right, guys. These things are monsters. So he cut these wheels I had them cut. They're laser cut. These cuts are freaking awesome. 1/2-inch center, so they're 1/2 inch thick. I had 3/8 last time, so a little bit skinnier. I'm happy with a 1/2 inch. It'll make me a little bit stronger, which the other one's never bent, but you know what? Why not go overkill? These are a little nicer looking than just some rings. So we're gonna have some nice billet pieces that thread into there. We're gonna have a billet center cap on it. And these rims are gonna be looking fresh after I send them to my boy over at Mikey's Powder Coat. That's another thing. Almost every part on this truck, we send out to have powder coated. So on top of getting the part or building the part, now it has to go to powder coat. Some people don't realize how long it takes to do that stuff, but I just wanted to call out a couple people that were calling me a liar. I'm not lying. It just takes time. And there's some things you forget. You figure, guys, this truck was down to the bare frame. Every single nut and bolt has been taken out of this and have to be put back on it. And I wanted it to be perfect and right. I did not half-ass anything or cut any corners on this build. So, huge update. The wheels are here. So my boy Mikey's about to pick them up. They're gonna go to powder coating at Mike's Custom Coating. He always takes care of it. He powder coated everything else on the truck. He's also got our steps there, and we have our new coilover springs here, and he's already picked those up, and they are sandblasted and getting ready to be powdered. So I should get all this stuff back in the next couple days, and we start assembly, and this should be the final assembly. Once we're done, we're gonna test it, and it's going to the wrap shop. So, fired up, man. Heck yeah. So excited. So just want to show you guys the wheels because they are massive. I wish I could pull them out of the truck, but they weigh so much. I have to forklift them out of the truck. These things are like, I don't know, 300 or 400 pounds a piece, something like that. They are freaking heavy. And yeah, but they are just, yes, sir. Very excited. And I want to go over a couple things on that. So we're back on the Mega. Let's get back together. Let's freaking go. First of all, I'd like to give a huge shout out and thank you to DraftKings for sponsoring today's video. It's January. You guys know what that means. You know what time it is. It's playoff season. Playoffs are in full swing right now. We got games every week. All the best teams right now in the league are competing to be in Super Bowl 59. So DraftKings said, let's step it up a notch. We don't want you guys missing out on the action, so we're going to throw in a little bit better deal for you guys. Right now, you sign up for DraftKings Sportsbook app, you bet $5, and you'll instantly get $200 worth of bonus bets through DraftKings. You can get in on same-game parlays with DraftKings, use your $200 bets, and hopefully win big in the end. We all love watching the game, but for some of us, that just isn't enough. We want to make it a little more exciting and put some money on the line. As we do with everything that we own, every time we take a truck out, we're putting money on the line. If we're at a racetrack, we're at a burnout comp, you never know what's going to happen. We got a lot of money tied up in that. It's a gamble every time. If gambling isn't available yet in your state, don't worry, guys. DraftKings has you covered just by signing up for DraftKings Daily Fantasy. So don't hesitate. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app right now. New customers, use my promo code JH and do a $5 bet on any wager and receive $200 instantly of bonus bets through DraftKings. That's promo code JH only at DraftKings Sportsbook. Don't miss out. It's only a limited time. Well, the wheels are off to powder coat right now, and we got some other goodies that came in for this thing. But for now, we're gonna get started back on the truck. There's a couple things under the hood that we gotta button up. Nothing crazy. I think there's a Fickum plug and some other stuff that we gotta fix. And I think we gotta get our hood stack leveled just right to get it out to where it needs to be. And then other than that, I think under the hood is ready to go. And then we got everything underneath, obviously, that we gotta finish up. Our shocks, our springs are with Mikey at Mike's Custom Coatings. He's doing the springs for us right now, along with our wheels. And then also on top of the wheels, he's also gonna have our steps. So we got all that stuff coming back this week, and we'll hopefully be fully assembling everything this week. Brian is about to come by for all the billet stuff. We're gonna measure for all that. And then we will hopefully have this thing going together pretty easily and pretty good. But one thing we got a box here of goodies right here. These things are insane. Check them out. So the guys over at Big Shocks, we got with them. We wanted to go a different route. I wanted to go with a coilover shock, and I just didn't like the ones that we had. We bought them, and then I just wasn't feeling it after the fact. So we went a little upgrade, and we got some monster Big Shock 3.0s. These things are absolutely insane. 20-inch to travel. I mean, the freaking, I don't even...
Yeah, I don't know if it really computes on the video how much bigger those are than they are
three
massive.
times the size of the older one.
Massive.
3.0 springs, so it's got some massive springs going on it. A lot of other shocks are 2.5s. My old shocks are 2.5s. We literally put it up there like, man, I hope this thing fits, and it does. But man, these things are monsters, dude. So huge shout out to Big Shocks for getting these for us. They are, these things are the way to go. It's gonna be absolutely insane. I mean, this thing weighs like 100 pounds.
Yeah, wait until you put the springs on it.
Springs on it. So we have to figure out how to mount this thing where the old one was.
Yeah, I mean, you see, that's the size. Hold that up there. That's the size of the old one.
And it.
I mean, not even close.
This is absolutely insane. We may have to figure something out on this, but dang. So, anyways, we'll put this back in the box for now until we get our springs back from our buddy Mikey, and they should be back hopefully
I got
tomorrow.
a picture of them. He said they'd be here today.
Today?
He sent me a picture last night. I said, so you're bringing them tonight? He said tomorrow. I said it's not acceptable, but
we'll deal with it. We'll deal with it, I guess. Hell yeah. So we got some other stuff. I got to go grab the new chains for the limiting straps. We're gonna have to extend those because the truck got taller. And Brian's coming by to make all the billet stuff. Should be interesting. This video should be really show this truck coming together really nicely. I got to get a bumper for the front.
bumper for the rear.
A bumper for the rear. And then, yeah. Let's get this thing together. It's time. So we've got our 3.0 series big shocks laid out along with our springs. These things are massive yet again. And we've got our nitrogen tank here hooked to the airline. And we're gonna do this our way. We think this will work. We got it set about 150 pounds, so I would just bump it in there. There we go. There it is. Come on, baby. You got it? Try to do it as easy as we can. There she goes. Now bump it up to 150 where it's at. Oh! Oh yeah, she bumped it up now. I'd say that's pretty solid right there. Oh, well.
I thought they would hold pressure. That's my fault. I thought you could take them off and yeah. I guess that is right.
So the way that this works is pump them back in. They got volume now. So we are putting nitrogen back in them, or in them, to make them better than just shop air.
Probably tighten that up a little bit. Yeah. It is holding.
Should be good. All right, there's one shock out, fully extended. Now I gotta take the bottoms off and throw our springs on it. They're together.
They're pretty.
Look at these things, man. This is absolutely insane. This thing's like, well, fully compressed, or not fully compressed, on the truck, they're gonna be like 38 to 40 inches tall, and then add 10 inches. So these things are like, or 38 to 40 inches. So these things are like 48,
Yeah,
50
almost 50
inches
inches
tall, basically is where they're at right now. 3.0, 3-inch spring. These things are massive, dude. I'm really glad that we went this way over the other ones, just because now we don't have to rely on nitrogen as much. We got about 150 pounds on here. Realistically, it's only really helping for rebound and compression, just kind of helping with the ride quality. We can bump that up and bump it down. The springs are mainly what holds the weight of the truck up, where when we set the other ones on there, most of the weight was held by the nitrogen, which if the nitrogen ever blows a seal or blows out, don't get me wrong, these can leak down a little bit if they did, but it's not gonna be near as much as if we had to put 500 pounds in them and they were way down or something like that. So they said probably 250 pounds is about max. They can hold far more, but I don't see us having to put any more than that in these things. So I think it's time to set these rigs on the truck, huh?
I think it is that time.
I think it's time, man. Let's get these things on. So these are our two fronts here, and then our two rears are there. They have lighter springs in the rear, heavier springs in the front. But huge shout to Mikey. Again, Mike's Custom Coatings all over this thing, man. He has done a phenomenal job on all the powder coat work. This stuff has been second to none the whole step of the whole way of the build, every step of the build. So very excited. We're going to get these things bolted up. We'll actually see where the ride height of the truck is going to sit once we get these shocks bolted up on there.
That will be the true
This will be the
telltale
true ride
where
height,
we're
where
at.
it's going to sit. And then guess what? The wheels and tires, they're on the way. They're getting mounted up today. We should have them sometime tomorrow. And I don't know if we're gonna put the wheels and tires on. Hey, we gotta put the wheels and tires on it. It's gotta be done before it gets wrapped. My wrap guy's gonna hate me, but it has to be done.
Absolutely, it has to be done.
It has to be done. All right, well, let's get these things bolted up and get this whole girl a new facelift here, because this is gonna pop so good, dude. I'm so excited. Yes.
Well, you go ahead and put that on there, and I'll just film you.
Sounds good to me.
Got a little weight to them?
Little length, little weight. So as you guys can see, I figured the easiest way to do this was to pop the tires off. We made the back stationary, and now we're gonna basically hang these shocks. Well, we're gonna let the axle down first.
Yeah.
Then hang the shocks, and as we hang the shocks in there, we'll jack the rear end up to make them meet, and we should have it all. I think what we need to do.
I think so.
I'll let this side down, and you let that side down. And we'll kind of let them down together.
Yep. You ready? Whoop, whoop, sorry. Mine turned very easily.
Go ahead, let her down.
See the rear end's coming down. Truck staying in place.
I think that'll be enough. If not, you'll have control on my side.
Yep. Let me grab the bolts. I just need these two.
You have the misalignment spacers?
I don't, they're over there.
Grab misalignment
There's
spacers.
the bolt.
Shock one, here we go. The skinny part goes towards the middle.
Front and back.
Oh, right there. All right. What? The shocks? Tell you what, they're way forward now.
Well, they're way down. I mean,
All right, we got the first shock in, and we're gonna cut the misalignment spacers down because we actually had set these up for the other shocks. And now that we have these shocks in here, it's gonna be a little bit different. So the misalignment spacers are gonna have to be modified a little bit, about 1/8 of an inch. So it's under its own weight in the rear. And she is tall, buddy. It is too tall.
Right now it's 4 inches too tall.
Yeah, 4 inches
4
too
to
tall.
6.
4 to 6 inches too tall right now. So it'll still work, but we don't like how the drive shaft angle is, obviously. Now, if in reality, if it goes where we want it to go, what will it measure that eye to eye again?
44.
No, the eye to eye here.
Oh.
So, because we're gonna put limiting chains on it. So if we go eye to eye,
37.
where's that?
37.
37. So four full droop will be 4 more inches than this, which is where we're gonna set our limiting chains at, which should be fine. And then, but obviously it won't rip a drive shaft out if it does that or anything. So we want ride height to be right in the middle of that 20-inch travel shock. So we definitely got our height back that we were looking for. We
Have enough height.
We got our height, but hopefully, and maybe these things need to settle down. Maybe we got to drop a little bit of nitrogen on them to help a little bit, because they said nitrogen really isn't used for that in these, but dude, this thing is massive on the tiny tires. You got to figure we have 66-inch tires going on this
16
thing.
more inches
These
taller.
are, yeah, they're 16 inches taller. That would put the floor like,
The center is 16 inches taller.
yeah, that's not going to work.
The floor would be, the bottom of the truck would be like,
That's not gonna work. Oh, but dude, the color, Mikey killed it. I was a little worried about how I was gonna look with the green springs, but he absolutely killed it. Let's hope that we don't have to just get rid of the green springs now. It would suck.
Well, they're going to go
And
back green either way.
yeah, they're going back green either way. We'll powder coat them silver and send them back to him, I guess. But man, he did the matching so good on it. Everything looks really good. There's a little bit of dust on the other stuff, so keep in mind. But
very dusty.
it is coming together, but we still have a long way to go. All right, now we do the fronts. Let's get them done. Well, we got a problem. The truck is too tall.
a lot too tall.
A lot too tall. So, Yeah, this is on the roll arounds, and you can see the height here is about what the truck was on the other tires. So our goal was to raise the truck about 6 to 8 inches. The problem with all these different shock manufacturers, I ran a different shock manufacturer back whenever we originally built the truck. That shock manufacturer, I'm not gonna name any names, had terrible customer service. I could never get parts for them. The shocks performed well, but when I had issues with them, I got no customer support on it. It was really bad. So I said, man, I don't wanna run into that this time. So I bought the other set of shocks. I didn't like the height of those because they were actually too short, single spring, didn't have the dual rate coils on them. I just didn't like that. They didn't have what I needed. So then I went to Big Shocks and we discussed everything. But unfortunately right now with all the stuff that we have, we gotta talk to Big Shocks tomorrow and see what's going on, because where this thing should sit, it should have about 38 to 40 inches between eye to eye on the bolt. Right now, the front is at 44 inches and the rear is at 46 inches. So we have a huge difference here on where we need to be. So this thing needs to come down about 6 inches to where we want it to sit at. So if we brought it down to 6 inches, about like here, and then raise it another 16, the truck's gonna be that 6 to 8 inches taller that we originally were trying to do. Because we dropped these brackets down 6 inches. I'm sorry, we dropped these down 3. We raised the axle brackets 3. And so we wanted the truck to be about 6 to 8 inches. So we went with a 20-inch shock. We had an 18 before, but the problem is all these shock manufacturers and companies, one guy's 18 sits here, one guy's 18 sits here, and one guy's 18 sits here. They all sit differently. So one guy's 20 sits here, one guy's 20 sits here, one guy's 16 sits here. I don't know why everybody's so different, but they are. But whenever I gave them the measurements, we were supposed to be sitting at a certain height. So I'm gonna call them tomorrow, see what we have to do. These 20-inch shocks may just be too much, because now my worry is when I drop this thing down with my bump stop and my aluminum spacer there, I'm only gonna have about 6 inches of downward travel. So up travel will only be about 6 inches. I feel like we're gonna be bottoming out quite a bit. So hopefully we can get this resolved tomorrow. Maybe I have to go down to the 2.5s, which I'm fine with. I had 2.5s before. They never failed me. I never had an issue with them, unless I was jumping them and doing dumb stuff. But for these, for those, we have a big issue here. The truck is just too tall. And the back is even taller because I think the spring rate is too heavy. And we pulled down on it because it even gets even taller in the back. I mean, it's insanely tall where it's at right now for what we're doing. Our angles are way out, the whole deal. Now, one thing that is true is if we ever get this thing stuck in a mud hole or it's bending or articulating the axles and stuff, I can see the dry shafts, they will be okay. They're not gonna bottom out on the U-joints. They are at a hell of an angle, but they could go a lot more of an angle if I wanted them to. I don't want them to, but when we drop it down all the way to put the shocks in, I could live with that angle if I'm stuck in the mud or something that just had to spin, not driving it and bogging it and ripping it and doing everything else that we do. And also when we put our limiting chains on, we're gonna leave about 2 inches so the shock will not overextend. So we leave about 1.5 inches, give or take, is what we do. So in case there's a little bit of stretchiness or something in the chain, it'll stop it from overextending the shock and pulling the shock apart. So at this point, we're gonna call Big Shocks tomorrow, see what we have to do here. Unfortunately, we already powder coated our springs and stuff. Thought we'd be dead on where we need to be. So I'm gonna discuss this with them and see what the best solution is gonna be and hopefully get an answer for you guys. We still got a lot of other stuff to do to the truck. We got rock lights to put on it. We've got our hood stack to finish on it. We've got our sway bars to put on it. Brian's doing a bunch of billet stuff for us right now. So we still have a lot of stuff to do on the truck. This is kind of going to be a big slowdown. The wheels and tires actually I think will be here tomorrow. So this is a big slowdown, but we should be okay. We still should be dialed in and hopefully have it out for the review or for the debut that we want. It goes to the wrap shop next week and it's going to get wrapped. And then hopefully after it's wrapped, it's totally done and we have the truck back here in our possession and it's totally done where we don't have to do much work on it. But you never know. We'll see what happens. We're going to go continue further, talk to Big Shocks tomorrow, see what we have to do here. All right, so after a conversation with Big Shocks this morning, we're hoping that we can make this work. What we've done is we've let all the nitrogen out of the shocks. We're gonna go drive the truck around the yard. We're gonna kind of hit the brakes a couple times, let it flex, and then we are going to bring it back in and start charging the shocks with weight on them We'll see where we can get these things to sit. I still think that we're gonna need a shorter spring for the rear because the rear still is taller, and he even said on the phone they should be compressed a few more inches than that. So I'm gonna hop in it, we'll start it. It's been a while since it's been ran. Go run it around the yard, feel the suspension a little bit, bring it back in, we'll measure it, see where we're at, see what we gotta do.
All right, taking her out to see the light of day. We got to take it out and run it around. They said settle the shocks. So we're going to do that. I know it's leaning to one side right now. It has no air in the shocks at all. So it's probably going to lean around a little bit. They're trying to settle the shocks. Wow. My thing's way over now. So now they said to recharge the shocks and we'll see where it's at.
Well, more unfortunate news. So after we drove the truck around with no nitrogen in the shocks, it still did not come down enough. So we're hoping, apparently they're going to send us some shocks overnight, some springs to us, and we're going to drop our spring rate down in the rear and drop our spring rate down in the front. And that is hopefully going to be setting the truck a little bit lower where we need it to be. If not, we're going to have to go with a different shock, different size shock. So we're going to try what they want us to do, and hopefully it works. But I just kind of have my doubts right now because I don't like where it's at, and the angles just aren't what they should be. There's just a lot to it. The front is very close. The front's within a couple inches. It's still more angled than it's going to be. The angle it is what it is because we raised the truck, but then the rear is way too tall still and way too much angle. So we'll see what happens, but we'll put the other springs in it, keep trucking away on it, and hopefully we have this thing running for you guys and hopefully release it soon. All right, well, we got her back in this position again, and Big Shock's overnight has some springs, so big shout to those guys. We're trying to get this thing solved to get it sitting where we want it, and we're hoping that is going to be the case. Put these springs on it, maybe it'll drop it down a little bit and sit the truck more where we need it to sit. So let's see what happens when we get these things out and get it dropped down to where we think it needs to be. So we've changed the rear springs and it is looking pretty level. We have not put nitrogen in the shocks yet. Remember, the shocks have no nitrogen at the moment, so we're gonna throw some nitrogen in them and see what that does. But I do not mind the ride height where it's at. I do expect the truck to settle a little bit and it'll drop another, hopefully an inch is what we're hoping, but we are gonna put nitrogen in them. So I think once I do the nitrogen, it's gonna bump it back up an inch. So still not ideal where we're at, but let's play with it and see what we can do. I can live with this. It's just I got to watch my angles and stuff and see where we're at on all that. So I am going to put some nitrogen in them, bump it up a hair. Let's see where the front rear sits and play it by ear. See what happens.
No way. Oh my goodness. starts to feel like it's gonna flip over on its side. It looks
That's one way to adjust it, I guess.
so sketchy.
Man, that thing looks good though.
So after driving it, it actually bumped itself up a little bit. So we pretty much come to the conclusion, we've been going back and forth on these shocks, and they're just going to be we think they're just going to be too long. They're just too big of a shock. So in that case, we're going to run these shocks next week, I think, just kind of get everything to feel of the truck. It's going to be a couple weeks before we get another set of shocks, which I'm fine with. We're not going to go mud bogging or anything like that with them, but we're going to set our wheels and tires on it. We're going to get our bottom drop, where if these shocks fully compress, where would they drop out to, that kind of stuff. Make sure our tires are not going to hit the bed, because that was a big goal for raising this truck a few inches, was not hitting the bed. So we're going to do that, and then hopefully everything turns out good and the truck will be good. But for now, we're going to maybe put the tires on it, check that out. I'm not 100% sure yet. We're going back and forth. Everything's been a little chaotic since this whole deal's happened with the shocks and stuff. So it's really put just kind of a hold on us for a little bit on trying to get the rest of this thing figured out. But it is definitely massive right now. It's way bigger than what it needs to be. We're about 3 to 4 inches too big, which doesn't seem like a lot, but when you're figuring drive shaft angles, 4-link bar angles, all that kind of stuff, 3 to 4 inches actually does a lot. So we're going to do what we can do and hopefully get a little bit better, but we'll see. I don't know. Again, it's a we'll see thing, because we're trying. We still got to put the sway bar on it. We got a lot of little billet brackets we're putting on it. We got a lot of stuff left to do on it before it leaves here. I still haven't even got to drive it and rip it. I can't do that till I have the sway bar, which that should be done hopefully tomorrow. So we'll see what happens, and we will go from there. Our boy Mikey brought us some presents, dude. Look at these, man.
You can't look in here.
Oh, man. I showed them a little preview before they went to powder. So Mikey hooked us up, got them to powder for us. Yeah, they're all backwards. Got them to powder for us and got the tires mounted and everything. Our boy Mikey just goes above and beyond. Got our steps done, so our steps will be matching the frame. Looks really good. He did such a nice job on everything. Man, I'm ready to put these things on. So 18-434 on a 20-inch wide wheel. They're a little blown out a little bit. I think they look really good like that, though. I think it looks pretty sick. Looks pretty awesome. I'm ready to put these things on, man. I'm excited. This actually reminds me of the original tires I had on the truck. They were smaller, but they were blown out like this. The ones that are actually on Ron Burgundy now were the original tires we built the mud truck with. So Justin's got the truck jacked up here. Dude, this is like ride height. This is absolutely nuts right now. This is gonna be crazy. It's just a little guy over here, okay? Just a little guy. Let's get these tires on it. We got to see what it looks like on top of these tires. Here's our current height. We went too big. We keep saying that in this video, that it's too tall, and well, it's too tall. We got to lower it down some, but this thing is massive, dude. Holy crap. So we'll lower it down. Well, I'll back it out. You guys can check it out outside the shop, because this is the first time it's rolling out on the big tires. It's going to be pretty insane. When we do that, and we'll check it out outside. This is your new job.
Yeah, hey, if you can't climb in it, you can't drive it. Get out.
You guys ready? It's up. It is up in the air. And it is a lot bigger than what we thought. I could not do this before. Not a chance. Dude, this is insane. Absolutely insane. Let's go, dude. This is such a long time coming. It's freaking huge. So we put the big tires on it so you guys could see it. And Mikey just crushed the powder coat on this thing. Look at the wheels. So another thing that he two-toned them. So the back side, he matched the axle up the back side. So it basically matches it all the way up, and then it obviously goes to green. So when you look at this thing, you're like, oh, it's gray, and then you come around, it's all green. It just looks so good, man. So they match the axles. The frame obviously is the one-off blue object, which I thought would set this thing off really good. He also did do the steps in blue, but that's like the one crazy just color that I think will be incorporated really good with the wrap when we get it all done. But the green with the blue came out just phenomenal, man. It is. She's big. So I don't like having my truck that big because of the way I drive it. So I want to have the truck as low as I can. I like to have it as low as I can without the tires hitting. So before, I had these same size tires on here. The truck from this height was probably 12 inches shorter. It was a foot shorter. Because this, the step was pretty much level with there's actually a little bit below the tire. So, and it used to hit the bed really hard. So if you guys remember in the beginning of this build, we did everything we could to try to raise this truck up, but we did raise it up just a little bit too much. To be honest with you, if we would never touch the shock brackets, put some nicer ones on there with bigger holes for these shocks, and put the 20-inch shocks on there, it'd probably sit perfect where it is, exactly where we want it. So it kind of sucks that that happened, but we were building this thing over such a long time, and then if you remember, the truck was totaled, so we had to tear it apart. The motor was blown up. Like, this was like I didn't know what to do with it at first. I was like, I don't know how deep we're going to rebuild it. I don't know if I wasn't going to powder coat the frame. I was just going to paint it like we did before. I wasn't going to do all new shocks on it. I was going to do like an upgrade. Like, I wasn't going to do a new transfer case. It was just kind of transpired from there. And then Kill Devil Diesel came in with the engine. Warren Diesel came in with the injectors and the injection system. Fast Fuel Systems came in with the fuel. And everybody just started kicking in on it and really got excited about the build. Mike's Custom Coatings, again, did everything powder coat on this thing. Everything looks so good. And so it just kind of, everybody popped up. BD Diesel stepped in, wanting to do more stuff to it. So Nitrous Express is going to give us a couple things. We're waiting on that to come in. And so it just kind of kicked off from there. And, you know, huge shout out to everybody that's been sticking with us on the channel for as long as we've started building this thing. I mean, back when I tore this thing apart, Justin, you weren't even here yet. You were still working at your other job.
I was part-time, but
you would come in at night and help me,
Yep.
and like, just donating your time. And so that's how long ago I tore this thing down, because now you've been here for a year, a little over a year. So you've been here for a little over a year, and it's been going really good, man. No, 2 years.
2 years.
2
years will
just
be like
under
March.
2 years. Yep. So that's crazy. So over 2 years, we've been working on this truck in the background, and it's been such a project. And I get it. There's some people are like, why is it taking so long? Well, there's a lot of process that goes into this, you know? Like, I want this thing to be perfect. I want this thing to be right. I want everything to be perfect when it's done. I didn't want to just half-ass it, and I didn't even have a plan at first. I was like, do I just start over and build a whole new mud truck? Because the engine was blown up, the cab was destroyed, the transmission was slipping, the axles were leaking, the wheels and tires were, I was like, dude, everything is just shot. So it's really cool that, you know, you guys stuck around and you're waiting on this, and it's still not done. We got one more episode on this thing, and we're going to get the next episode out on it, where we hopefully will have a finished product for you guys, and it'll be completely wrapped, it'll be completely done. And I think you guys are going to love what we're going to do with it. I think it's just going to be so cool. I'm so happy you guys are sticking around for it on the channel. It is just the coolest thing. So we're going to end it here, and we're going to keep trucking away on this thing. Our buddy Brian over at R&D Concepts has us a ton of billet parts being made for it. Billet shock reservoir mounts. Billet mounts for the all our brake lines, all of our fuel lines, all of our steering lines. I mean, this truck's going to have a ton of billet on it. It's going to be absolutely insane. So really excited. Really cool. This thing came out great. It's getting dark on us. I'm going to get this thing pulled back in. Like I said, guys, we are going to lower it down a little bit. We're going to get it to where we need it to be. Once we do that, this thing will be ready to rip, guys. God, I'm excited.
Yeah, that next episode, it's going to be something about, I think there's something about a diamond and a goat. Something, it's really going to shine anyways.
It's going to shine. It's going to shine.
Man, it looks good. It is big.
It's big, though. It's just too big for me. So it does look good, but it's just a little much. And Hey, wait till you guys see the finished product is all I can say. I got a finished product in my head. Wait till you guys see the finished product because it's gonna be nuts.
If it doesn't turn out like that, we're lighting it on fire and burning it.
The amount of lights that are going on this thing are insane.
It
dude.
might
The
light
lights
itself on fire.
might just go up one day. Who knows?
Wow, it looks good. Man, it looks good.
Ooh, they're bright.
It's close. That's good. Yeah. Go ahead and scatter the motor.